see this again!
What have you done?
Oh my God!
Princess Charlotte publicly threw Prince William's royal gift into the palace lake, right in front of foreign diplomats, royal guests and dozens of live cameras, and according to Royal Guard Oliver Grant, that was the exact moment Windsor Hall realized Charlotte had finally stopped fearing her father. The royal summer banquet was supposed to repair the monarchy's image. For months, the palace had suffered from endless scandals, rumors about Charlotte, arguments inside Windsor Hall. Secret relationships, cancelled royal appearances. The public had started questioning whether the royal family was falling apart behind closed doors. So Prince William organized the banquet carefully. A perfect royal evening beside the palace gardens, elegant orchestra music, golden lights, reflecting across the lake, hundreds of aristocratic guests, and at the center of everything, Princess Charlotte. According to palace staff, William spent weeks preparing one specific moment for the event. A public reconciliation, something emotional enough to soften the royal family's image. Only Charlotte didn't know. That night, she arrived wearing a dark silver gown beneath the glowing garden lights. Beautiful, elegant, completely expressionless. Oliver Grant immediately noticed something wrong. Charlotte barely spoke during dinner. She ignored several guests. And every time William tried speaking to her, she quietly looked away. Because according to palace insiders, Charlotte and William had barely spoken for nearly 3 weeks. Not after the university scandal. Not after the leaked video. Not after William secretly tried forcing her to end her relationship again. Still, the banquet continued peacefully, until William suddenly stood from the royal table and tapped his glass gently. The entire garden fell silent. Cameras turned toward him immediately. William smiled carefully. Tonight, he announced softly, is about family. Charlotte visibly stiffened. George noticed it too. He quietly whispered beside her, "What is he doing?" But William continued. For years, Charlotte has carried the pressure of royal life with strength and grace. Guests applauded politely. Charlotte didn't react. Then, William raised one hand toward palace staff standing nearby, and suddenly, a velvet box appeared. The atmosphere changed instantly. Even Oliver Grant felt it, because he immediately understood. William was about to force a public reconciliation. In front of everyone. William opened the box slowly. Beneath the palace lights, inside rested an enormous diamond necklace once owned by Princess Diana. The entire garden gasped. Several guests immediately began whispering, because the necklace was legendary inside royal history. Diana rarely wore it publicly, and according to palace rumors, William had refused to let anyone touch it for decades. Until now, William stepped toward Charlotte holding the necklace carefully. "This belonged to your grandmother," he said quietly. Charlotte stared at it silently. Then at him. William smiled gently for the cameras. "I want you to have it." The guests immediately applauded louder. Reporters rushed closer. The moment looked perfect, exactly what Windsor Hall wanted the world to see. A loving father. An emotional royal gift, a united family. But according to Oliver Grant, Charlotte looked horrified instead of touched, because she understood exactly what William was doing. He wasn't apologizing. He was reclaiming control. Publicly. William moved closer. "Charlotte?" For several seconds, she said nothing, then quietly asked, "Why now?" William's smile faded slightly. "Because family matters more than mistakes." That sentence hit Charlotte instantly, because she realized he still viewed her pain as embarrassment, not heartbreak. George noticed the change in her expression immediately. "Charlotte." Too late. Charlotte slowly stood from the royal table. The applause faded awkwardly. William extended the necklace toward her again, then quietly whispered, "Take it." Charlotte stared directly into his eyes, and according to palace staff, the entire atmosphere suddenly became terrifyingly tense. Then Charlotte finally spoke. Softly. But loud enough for everyone to hear. "You think jewelry fixes everything." William's expression hardened instantly. "Not tonight." But Charlotte continued, "You humiliated me." Several guests looked visibly uncomfortable now. William lowered his voice sharply. "Sit down." Charlotte laughed bitterly. "Right there in front of the cameras. That's always your solution." George immediately stood too. "Charlotte, please." But she ignored him instead. She slowly took the necklace from William's hands. The reporters exploded with camera flashes for one brief second. Everyone believed the reconciliation had worked. Then Charlotte turned toward the palace lake beside the garden, and without hesitation, threw the necklace directly into the water. The entire banquet froze. Absolute silence. Several guests genuinely gasped. One aristocrat nearly dropped her wine glass. Even George looked stunned. The diamonds disappeared beneath the dark lake water instantly. William didn't move, didn't breathe. According to Oliver Grant, he looked completely shattered. Charlotte's eyes filled with tears immediately afterward. But this time, she didn't look weak. She looked furious. You cared more about protecting Diana's image than protecting your own daughter. Nobody inside the garden dared speak, because deep down, everyone knew she was telling the truth. William finally stepped toward her slowly. "Do you understand what you've done?" Charlotte answered instantly. "For the first time in my life?" Her voice cracked emotionally. "Yes." The reporters were going insane now. Security teams rushed across the garden, desperately trying to block cameras, but the damage was already irreversible. Charlotte suddenly pointed toward the lake. "That necklace mattered more to you than I ever did." William looked genuinely shaken hearing that. And for several seconds, he couldn't answer. That silence destroyed him, because Charlotte immediately realized something terrifying. It was true. Tears rolled down her face again. Then she whispered quietly, "I spent my whole life trying to earn love inside this family." George looked devastated beside her. Even Kate appeared close to tears. But Charlotte wasn't finished. She looked directly toward the cameras, toward the guests, toward Windsor Hall itself, then quietly said, "I'm tired of pretending this palace isn't broken." That sentence changed everything, because moments later, Charlotte walked away from the royal banquet entirely, barefoot across the wet garden stone, ignoring security, ignoring cameras, ignoring William, calling her name behind her for the first time that entire night. Charlotte, she never turned around, according to Oliver Grant. That frightened William more than the necklace ever could, because for the first time, Charlotte truly looked ready to leave Windsor Hall forever. Later that night, royal divers searched the palace lake for hours trying to recover Diana's necklace. But according to palace insiders, William never once asked whether they found it. Instead, he remained alone inside the dark palace garden long after everyone else disappeared, staring silently at the lake. Because deep down, he finally understood something terrifying. Charlotte hadn't thrown away the necklace. She had thrown away him, and according to Oliver Grant, that was the first night Prince William looked genuinely afraid of losing his daughter forever. If you enjoyed this emotional royal drama story, leave your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Do you think Charlotte went too far? Or was this the moment she finally stood up for herself? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more hidden royal scandals, emotional palace drama, and shocking Windsor Hall secrets.